All right, hello everybody. Welcome as we are letting everybody into the room. I hope you are all having a fabulous Friday. It is absolutely beautiful and wonderful day. No matter where you are, you have the opportunity to make it wonderful. So our mindset and our choices and the things that we do that are actually, it's the way that we react to others that can absolutely change the way that our days go. So I just want to welcome you to Ask Doc Live. My name is Rebecca Dukes Kozak, and I will be your host for the next 2 hours of this awesome show that it is my absolute privilege to be able to host and bring to you each and every week. Now, this program is sponsored by AskDocLive.com, but I really encourage you that if somebody invited you to watch this program, whether you're here live with us or you're watching the replay, make sure that you get back with the person that invited you to watch this program, okay? They have a vested interest in making sure that you get what you need in order to reach optimal health. They care. Make sure that you get back with them and thank them for caring. Now, if you have never spoken to anybody about anything that you hear today on this program, we do have a website, AskDocLive.com, that has a contact us that you can send an email and reach out to us. One of our certified holistic health coaches will get back to you and assisting you in getting the products that you need specific to your needs. I just have to thank my co-hosts because they do an amazing job. If you're on live with us, make sure that you have that chat box open because they are putting information that will assist you in being able to get information and extra little resources to help you reach your goals. Nasima Omar, Ruth Ellen Sanchez, Dr. Judy Reynolds, and Heather Bowen are absolutely amazing at helping us keep this show running. If you have your camera on, please make sure that anything that is going on in the camera view is family appropriate. So I hate to have to say that, but we love you guys and we just want to make sure that it's a safe environment for everybody. And also, if you would like to ask a question, find that raise hand option. Click on participants, and under participants, there's the raise hand, or depending on what system you're using, there's something that says reactions. Click on reactions. You can raise your hand there also. Now, the content of this program is to provide educational information only on nutrition. This program is not meant to take the place of your primary care physician, and the FDA requires us to let you know that our products are not meant to treat, prevent, diagnose, or cure any disease. Now, we are absolutely honored to be able to have somebody that has proven through science that there are no genetically transmitted diseases, folks. The study of epigenetics proves that what we do around us, what we put in our bodies, affects the way that our genes are expressed. We have a nutrient-deprived body. Our genes are not going to express in a way that we optimally, if you want good health, want them to be expressed. It's amazing. I didn't believe it myself until I actually started on the products and felt the difference. And to bring us information about this amazing science of epigenetics, we have the one, the only, one of the co-founders of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach. Dr. Wallach, welcome to Ask Doc Live.
Well, thank you so much for the kind introduction, Rebecca, and your whole team. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And I just get breathless thinking how many people we're going to help today. And I do want to start out by talking about obesity, because it's really starting to warm up and people are taking their sweatshirts off and standing in front of the mirror and saying, uh-oh, I'm about 25 to 50 pounds overweight here. I ate too many waffles during the wintertime, and so I need to do something. So we're going to talk about obesity a little bit. And so I went and looked it up. The record for the weight, top weight, when it came to women is 1,200 pounds. The top record for men is 1,400 pounds. Okay. Now, there's not many people that reach that, but those are the records. Okay. That you just ask Siri, and Siri will come up with those numbers. And of course, there's some change, not even numbers. It's a little bit of change in addition to the big numbers. But obesity, people really have a misconception about it. They think, well, it's because I'm just eating too much fat. No, it has nothing to do with that. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. When a person is 2 pounds overweight, 25 pounds overweight, 50 pounds overweight, 100 pounds overweight or so or more, it's because they're missing some nutrients, and the body's looking for those nutrients. The body keeps kicking you and saying, eat, find that nutrient, eat, find that nutrient, eat, find that nutrient. And that's the problem. And that's why people just go, I don't know why I'm hungry. I just ate 3,000 calorie lunch here. Why am I still hungry? Well, you got plenty of calories in that 3,000 calorie lunch. So why are you still hungry? Well, you're hungry because your body's telling you, look, you need these nutrients. Keep eating until you find them. Okay. And that's why you just see people, I don't know why, but I just eat all day. I can't stop eating. Well, that's because your body's telling you to look for those nutrients. And so this is why, now the only reason, but it's one of the reasons why we really understood how to help people prevent getting overweight and how to lose excess weight very economically and, without surgery and all that kind of stuff. And you'll add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life, because again, being overweight, being obese is a nutritional deficiency. All right. It's not a calorie issue. It's a nutritional deficiency. And we've worked it out to where we have what we call a Keto Shake. Now, this shake comes in strawberry or chocolate. And during the week, I like, when they're working or going to school, I want them to have one meal a day. It doesn't have to be the same meal. It's a meal replacer. It's not to take with a meal. It's a meal replacer. And based on your schedule, you can choose whatever meal you want on that particular day to use that Keto Shake, and then have, say, depending on your body weight, 1, 2, or 3 of the Rebound or Sports Drink. And we have those, the cans back in, and that's really exciting. People are just going and buying by the case and buying by the case and so forth, because our Sports Drink has 100 nutrients in it, 78 minerals, and 25 vitamins and amino acids. Okay. And so we're looking at a totally different concept here. And you take these nutrients, and suddenly now your appetite disappears. You say, I don't know, I didn't finish my plate. Okay. And you're just having one meal a day that's replaced by a Keto Shake. Now, on the weekends, when you don't have anything scheduled, okay, and somebody else is going to drive and all that kind of stuff, you might try one day, whether it's the Saturday or the Sunday, have 2 meals, 2 Keto Shake meals on one day a week, either on a Saturday or a Sunday, or whatever day you have off during the week. Okay. And then you'll kind of say, okay, I'm losing weight a little bit faster here, because it's not a calorie issue. It's a nutritional deficiency issue, why people become obese. And we deal with literally thousands of people every day who want to lose weight. And we've been extremely successful because we know the basic underlying cause. And so that's why we have such success. And then also, going along with obesity, it's very common to have high blood pressure and diabetes. Both of those are nutritional deficiency diseases. Neither of them are autoimmune diseases. Neither of them are genetic diseases. Very simple. If you're on medication for high blood pressure, don't cold turkey off the medication. But you add our to your Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, the big hammer, the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, 215 nutrients, including the 90, which everybody agrees upon as being the basic essentials We have 215 nutrients in the basic healthy brain and heart pack, 1 per 100 pounds of body weight. And then you throw in the MSM, 3 for breakfast, 3 for lunch, 3 for dinner time. That'll be 2 bottles a month of the MSM to help rebuild cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc between the vertebrae, bone matrix, bone itself. And you want to be rebuilding the bone matrix and the bone marrow is very important because that's your immune system. Okay. You cannot make red blood cells. You cannot make white blood cells. You cannot make platelets. You cannot make antibodies without your bone marrow being healthy. So you need that MSM. You need our collagen peptides. Take a scoop of that in your morning drink. Take a scoop of that in your evening drink. Don't forget the vitamin D3, 3 of those twice a day, because most people who are adults sit in the shade, even in sunny places. They don't get down to their bathing suit, bikini, and lay out in the sun for a couple of hours. They just don't do it. They sit in the shade and let the kids lay out in the sun. Okay, it's kind of interesting. And so that's kind of what's going on there. And then diabetes is the same thing. Diabetes oftentimes goes along with obesity. And again, diabetes is not a genetic disease. Diabetes is not an autoimmune disease. Diabetes is a very simple nutritional deficiency disease. And we have a program for that too. Okay. It's called, let's see here, the Healthy Blood Sugar Pack. Okay. But if you're taking 2 healthy brain and heart packs, you don't need to do that. You just take the Sweeties, which is the key part of the formula for the Healthy Blood Sugar Pack. The Sweeties, get 2 bottles of them. So you can take 3 twice a day. Okay. If you weigh 200 plus pounds, I would get 3 times a day. It'll be 3 bottles a month of the Sweeties. Don't cold turkey off your medication, just like with the high blood pressure medication. But as your blood sugar begins to drop, you can slowly reduce the medication for diabetes based on the numbers. And usually within 2 to 6 weeks, you'll be off the medication. And you're losing a half a pound to 2 pounds a day. That's the usual schedule for people when they get on our Keto Shake and get off all the bad foods, the fried foods and the processed meats and the oils and the glutens and the wheat bran rhinos and the sugar and the carbonated drinks. You will lose a half a pound to 2 pounds a day. So if you need to lose 25 pounds, you could do that really easily within 2 months or 3 months, very comfortably. And so how long do you have to stay on all these nutrients? Well, forever. How long do you need oxygen? Forever. How long do you need water? Forever. Don't go off these nutrients or don't cut them in half, because what will happen here is you'll start having problems again within a month or 2. And you say, well, I tried that and it didn't work. Well, it did work, but you stopped taking it. Okay. You don't put dirt from Texas or Saudi Arabia in your car. Okay. You put oil in it. Okay. You got to do the same thing when it comes to yourself. Treat yourself as well as you treat your car. Okay. And so we can eliminate obesity in America, but everybody's just got to get on the same horse, if you will, and it'll be easy. Now, one of the things that goes along with osteoporosis, which is, obesity, which is a nutritional deficiency disease, is osteoporosis, because it's also a nutritional deficiency disease. And people get fractures. They say, well, I just weighed too much and I broke my leg. Well, that's just not happening that way. And you get edema and swelling in the legs, and you get pain in the joints, and you get tremors, and you get ringing in the ears because you have osteoporosis of the skull, and you get gastroparesis, terrible pain in your stomach, and your doctors think you have ulcers, and they want to take out half your stomach. They'll want to take out your gallbladder. They will want to, take out just about everything they can because that's how they get the money to send their kids to college. Okay. And so you have to be up on this. And so osteoporosis is actually quite easy. It's actually quite an expensive disease because so many people have it. And, doctors say, well, you're getting older, you got to expect this. And, we can give you some pain relief. We can give you this, we can give you that. But the osteoporosis keeps going on. And they milk the population like a dairy herd. Okay. And so it's one of those deals where osteoporosis of the skull, you get the clues. Of course, we have the book. It's all in your head. Okay. And Rebecca and I are working on finishing up a CD that goes along with this now. Most of our books, we have CDs to go along with them. Well, we finally got one that Rebecca and I made. It's all in your head. And it goes into the 25 different diseases that we know of that are caused by osteoporosis of the skull, including AFib. Doctors think that's a heart issue. So they anesthetize you, cut you open, take your heart out, put a hot branding iron all over it, trying to make it beat regularly instead of irregularly. It's really just the osteoporosis of the skull squeezing the 10th cranial nerve, which controls the rate and rhythm of the heart. And so once you read this book, you'll just say, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I had 2 people in my family die from that AFib, okay, during the ablation procedure, which is one of the most highly deadly medical therapies there is, okay, is ablation, because doctors mistakenly think that AFib is due to a heart problem. No, it's due to osteoporosis of the skull, okay? So all these things really, really, really begin to add up and build up. And these are things that you can deal with. You can reverse all this. You go to the doctor and say, hey, I want you to check out my heartbeat. I think everything's cool here. And they'll say, oh, okay. Let's have you come back in 2 weeks. Let's see if it's still going that way. And it is. And you say, you doing anything different? And you might tell them, but they're not going to believe it. Okay. But they're just not wanting you to sit in the waiting room and talk to other patients in the waiting room. I find that interesting. And so osteoporosis occurs when you have osteoporosis in your right knee. You have it in every bone in your body. If you have osteoporosis in your jaw or your TMJ joint, your temporal mandibular joint, you have osteoporosis in every joint and every bone in your body. And of course, there's symptoms of that. You get anemia because your bone marrow is dead when you have osteoporosis, and you cannot make red blood cells. You're more susceptible, even if you've had a vaccination, you're more susceptible to infections of viruses, bacteria, fungus, and yeast, because your immune system is dead when you have osteoporosis of the skull and the other bones in your body, because it can't make white blood cells, red blood cells, platelets, and antibodies, and so forth. So once you understand that basic principles, you'll say, oh, this osteoporosis is going to go away. Oh, this obesity is going to go away. And it will. We do this thousands of times a day. Maybe if you count it practically, is we do it thousands of times an hour around the world. Okay, and with all that said, I'm going to turn it back over to Rebecca here, because she has a lot going on that we need to deal with.
Dr. Wallach, there's a lot of people that have things going on that they can deal with intentionally in being able to choose a better health journey. And Dr. Wallach, I'm so thankful that I found you, because my health journey was going downhill fast. And now I feel absolutely fabulous. And I have you to thank.
Well, you have done a great job. And tell people how much weight you've lost.
I have lost 100 pounds, and it's not the same 25 pounds, 5 times. So I've had a lot of people say, I've lost a lot of weight too, but it's the same 10 pounds over and over again, or the same, I lose 50 pounds, I gain back 60. That has not been my case. I have been able to lose the weight and keep it off, because my body is not in that starvation mode, as you had mentioned. It's absolutely incredible. And, that first 2 months, I wasn't even thinking about weight. Yeah, I was almost 270 pounds, but the fact that I couldn't roll myself out of bed and I was in so much pain, and I didn't know when I did get out of bed if I was going to hit the floor because of the pain or not. That was what was my main concern. And then whenever I stepped on the scale at the 3-month mark, because I knew my clothes were getting bigger, and I saw that I was down 20 pounds, I'm like, wow, I wasn't even trying, but I was giving my body what it had been starving for, Dr. Wallach. And
it kept looking. I mean, we got to find it. Keep eating something until you find it.
Well, and you are absolutely right with that, because I could eat with the best of them. I mean, I remember even in high school, I managed the football team, and we'd go out to eat, and I was able to keep up with the biggest eater. I wasn't gaining weight at that time. I didn't have any weight issues until after I got pregnant with my 4th son. But I never felt satisfied when it came to food. I would feel stuffed, but not satisfied. And now I can eat a little bit. I'm satisfied. I don't crave. I don't have all those munchies all day long like I did before. Not for salty stuff, not for sweet stuff. I absolutely love it. So I'm still on that journey to reach my optimal goal, but my saying is progress over perfection. And that's one of my businesses is progress over perfection health coaching. So everybody, life is, as long as you're making progress in the right direction, that's the important part.
Well, we give you a AAA plus. So you have been really such a fantastic leader for so many, literally, I would say at least tens of thousands of people, maybe more than that, through Ask Doc Live. And we can't thank you enough for all that you and your team does, because somebody has got to save America. And it's not going to be the politicians in Washington.
That's absolutely right. And I am so thankful for my team. John T. McCollier, who does all the technical stuff and gets it loaded on the internet so that we have that option to be able to share it with others through our YouTube channel, through our Facebook channels, through our website. He does all that background stuff, which I'm so thankful for. He's like Johnny on the spot. And then Ruth Ellen and Nasima and Dr. Judy and Heather. I mean, I couldn't do this without them. They are amazing. And so are you, Dr. Wallach. None of us would be here without you. So.
Well, we're family. We're family.
We are family. And Dr. Wallach, we have some family members who have their hands up.
Okay.
Now, I just want to remind everybody, if you're on live with us, you have the opportunity to raise your hand and ask Dr. Wallach your question live. Just go to that function of either reactions or participants and find that raise hand option. So let's go to the first hand that is up, and it looks like Linda B. Linda, go ahead and unmute yourself. You're on live with Dr. Wallach. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I've been on this meeting before in the past, and I wondered how do you truly find out if you do have osteoporosis of the skull? Is there a test? An X-ray or MRI?
Okay. Yeah, there's two ways you can do it. Number one, both ways, you need to get a hold of the book. It's all in your head. Goes into the 25 different diseases that people can get, any one or 5 or 10 or 20 or all 25 of them. Okay, when you have osteoporosis of the skull. And of course, if you have any of those, it tells you right away you have osteoporosis of the skull. You don't need to do any other tests. You know, do you have tinnitus? Do you have ringing in the ears? Any buzzing or ringing in the ears? You're shaking your head yes, that means you have osteoporosis of the skull.
No, I don't, but I have a friend who does. And for me, it's my heart.
Okay, if you have AFib, atrial fibrillation, irregular heartbeat, or it could be a slow heart rate, which is bradycardia. It could be a fast heart rate, it could be tachycardia, it could be an irregular heart rate, AFib. All of those are caused by osteoporosis of the skull. But if you want to test, they can do a scan. I don't like X-rays, radiation, but you can do a non-radiation scan of the skull. It should only be a quarter of an inch thick, but if it's an inch thick, you got osteoporosis of the skull.
Okay.
Because all the connective tissue builds up where it should be, a quarter of an inch thick bone. Now it's a 1 inch or 2 inch thick connective tissue, like tendon. Okay. And because of that, it's squeezing the nerves, the 12 pairs of cranial nerves, and squeezing the spinal cord and creating all those symptoms. Got it?
Yes.
If you have dental problems, if you have receding gums and bleeding gums, your teeth are all loose, and when you're 12 years old, 15 years old, you had to go to an orthodontist to have braces put on, you get osteoporosis of the skull. Babies are born with osteoporosis of the skull. It's not just an aging thing. Babies are born with it. It's called Erb's palsy. They have osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the spinal cord until they're paralyzed from the neck down when they're born. And doctors think it's something like a cerebral palsy. but really it's osteoporosis of the skull, okay, called Erb's palsy. And so you get them on the nutrients, and within a couple of weeks, they don't have it anymore. You don't get them on the nutrients, they can go into, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. If they're not getting the nutrients, it's not going to go away. All right.
Okay.
So those are the ways. And so you look at the book and see, God, do I have any of these 25 diseases? Okay, then you have osteoporosis of the skull.
Yeah. I am taking a calcium supplement now. It's called Cal, and then I take strontium in the evening.
Okay, stop. Stop.
Stop taking that? Really?
Stop.
Wow.
Okay, now listen to me.
Okay.
Okay. You have to appreciate that just taking those weird things you're taking isn't going to solve your problem. Okay, I can tell because you have gray hair. Gray hair has nothing to do with aging. It's a nutritional deficiency. And one of those nutritional deficiencies that causes gray hair causes osteoporosis of the skull. You take all this weird, I'm taking more calcium. Well, that's not the total answer. That's like your car. Do you just put water in the radiator? No, you have to put antifreeze in with it. And then you have to have your windshield wiper fluid. Then you have to have your oil. You have to have the gasoline. You have to have the heavy grease, okay, for your oil pan. And all of these things going on in there, okay? And so it's a lot more complicated than just taking some extra calcium and some weird mineral, okay? So don't go there because you're wasting your money. You're not going to get what you're looking for.
Okay. And as far as breakfast, if I can't have toast or any of that, the wheat and the...
Okay, I missed the first part of that. He says as far as what?
Well, what can I eat for breakfast if I can't have the wheat, or can't have my beloved bread in the morning and cereal?
Well, I'll tell you what I had for breakfast this morning was 2 scoops of rice, steamed. Okay, I had 2 eggs with soft yolks. Okay, I had grapes.
Okay.
And I had what we call chicken of the sea, tuna.
Yeah.
You could have a hamburger, you could have a piece of steak. Some mornings I have a steak along with everything else. You eat like an Asian. Eat rice. Do not eat wheat, barley, or oats anymore. Okay, because when you look at the countries that have the worst problem with obesity and the worst problem with osteoporosis of the skull, is Europe. England, UK, Italy, Spain, Ireland, Sweden, Denmark, all those places, and then America and Canada. Okay, Asia doesn't have the problems we have. They are the longest lived people. When you look at the life expectancy, which is a way of measuring success, okay, let's see here, life expectancy. I know it's in the pile. Here it is. Okay. We were on with the Philippines last night. Their life expectancy is 71. That's because they have a lot of military bases from Europe and the United States. And they all began to eat wheat, just like all our military people did. They stopped eating rice and went to wheat. Okay, then the USA, our life expectancy is 75. Australia, it's 82.9. Let's see here, New Zealand is 82.3. Japan is 84.7. China is 76 because they have places where they grow a lot of wheat. The UK is 81. Russia is 72 because they grow a lot of wheat. South Africa is 63. Mexico is 77. And the people who live the longest, okay, and I should say Germany, their life expectancy is 81.26. Spain is 82. But the ones who live the longest live up in the Himalayan mountains where they have all those volcanoes, and the volcanic ash gets into their fields. And so when they grow their potatoes and their corn and all that kind of stuff, and they don't grow wheat, their life expectancy is 120. Is 120 better than 75? Now, we're supposed to have the best healthcare system in the world. Just ask any doctor, they will tell you that. They'll stand up on top of their hospital and beat their chest and say, we have the best healthcare system in the world. And then they bill you 3 times. Okay.
Yeah.
And we don't have the best healthcare system in the world. We have the most expensive healthcare system in the world. You can't equate expense with best. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is it that these people in Hunza do? Well, did you ever hear that book or the movie Lost Horizon written by James Hilton?
No?
Okay. Yeah. Lost Horizon. The book came out first, and I think it was like 1934 or something like that, because he followed one of these people from China who is in the Himalayas as a doctor, and he's treating all these people who are 100 years old, 110 years old, and they couldn't believe it. So this James Hilton was a big investigative reporter for the New York Times. So he goes and he spends a year following this Chinese doctor and visiting all these people who had records to show that they were 110 years old, 108 years old, and so forth. And so he wrote the book Lost Horizon. And then a couple of years later, the movie came out with the same title, Lost Horizon. Everybody needs to read that book. Everybody needs to see that movie because it's a true story of one culture.
Wow.
Okay. And if we eat like them, we avoid the things they avoid. Okay.
Yeah.
You'll add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You bet.
All right, thank you, Linda. So there's another Linda that had a question in the chat, and I really hope that she was listening because her question was in regards to osteoporosis of the hips. So if you've got osteoporosis in one area of your body, the chances are that's only where you're getting the symptoms, right, Dr. Wallach? It's
Yeah,
around the body.
osteoporosis is not just a disease of an isolated joint. No, when you have it, as you point out, Rebecca, when you point out that if you have osteoporosis in one hip, you got it in every joint, every bone in your body. And the reason why it's in the right hip is probably a truck driver who has all of the clutch and the gas and the brakes and everything for a big semi truck with that right side. And so the right hip is showing a little more wear and tear than, say, his neck vertebrae. Okay, but it still has osteoporosis there, but it's not going to have as severe as symptoms as that right hip, because that's where all his work is going on with that right leg for the brakes and the gas pedal and the clutch and that kind of stuff. Okay.
Absolutely. You know, it really amazes me. And I was talking about this with some of my teammates, that there are so many people that are suffering, and they're suffering from things that I suffered from, Dr. Wallach. And as I've been listening to you over the past 2 years now, all of my symptoms, almost all of my symptoms were because of osteoporosis, whether it was of the skull, the back, the joints, everywhere.
Did they
And my
improve?
symptoms, they're gone. Yes, they improved. They improved. And my symptoms, Dr. Wallach, started when I was 8 years old that I can remember, because that's when I had my first migraine that put me in the hospital.
Yeah, that's the fifth cranial nerve, the trigeminal nerve. Okay. And you get headaches behind the eyes and your cheeks and your temples and so forth. And that's a classic trigeminal neuralgia.
Yeah, it was horrific to the point where I still remember it and lived with it almost every single day for 35 years.
Well,
Yeah.
what happened to the doctors? Did you complain to the doctors about it?
Oh, they wanted to put me on more chemical drugs and therapies, and everything that I tried, nothing helped. And so I just figured I had to live with it. And fortunately, I don't live with it anymore. So they were wrong. You were right. I'll accept it. I love it. And I love the fact that so many more people are finding relief also, Dr. Wallach.
Yeah, we can't thank you enough for sharing your story, because a lot of people are, they're shy and they don't want to share their story, but you've shared your story. And literally over time here, because of Ask Doc Live, the program you've created, there's thousands of people listen every Friday. And then, of course, during the week, this is recorded and posted, so everybody can watch it 10 times a day if they want to. Okay.
That's right. That's right. We make this resource available to everybody to be able to share and make sure that this information is heard, because you're not going to hear it anywhere else. And it's so vitally important. And I hear so many people that say, oh, I'm not gluten intolerant, or, oh, I don't have celiac disease. I was one of them. And when I cut the gluten, I started feeling better. When I went totally gluten-free without contamination, I feel absolutely fabulous. Absolutely fabulous in a very short amount of time. So it is possible. And most of all, it's worth it. I don't even miss those other things. There's so many different alternatives, Dr. Wallach, that there's no reason for you to feel that you're deprived. And that deprivation is all up here. It's all in your head.
Ah, that would be a good title for a book.
Hey, I think I'll record a message on that book too. Well, Dr. Wallach, let's go to our next hand that is up. And Vaughn, go ahead and unmute yourself. Good morning. You're on live with Dr. Wallach. Oh, wait a minute. Try to unmute again, my dear. Oh, no. Say something. I see you're unmuted, but I don't see I can't hear you, my dear. We'll work on that. We'll work on that. Let's go to, no, still can't hear you. Let's go to James, and then we'll try coming back to you, Vaughn.
James.
James is next. Let's get James up with
Hello.
us. Hello, James. I can hear you. Go ahead, my friend.
Hey, Doc.
Yes, sir.
I
How can we help you?
started taking your advice on the mineral back in the 80s.
Wow.
I started taking the minerals back in the 80s when it was Body Toddy from Soaring Eagle. Been taking it ever since, and I'm 68 now. I just retired, and I'm in fabulous health. I've always been in fabulous health. My kids take the toddies. My wife took it through all her pregnancies, and we're all in super good health here. But recently, since I just retired, I'm not as active as I used to be. And to be honest with you, until I started listening to you regularly on Coast, I didn't really take what I was taking by weight. I just took what it said on the bottle, not realizing that I should be taking twice as much. But it's held me up good till now. But since I retired, I'm starting to get trigger finger, I think they call it, in one finger on my left hand. And it only starts in the evening after dinner if I'm sitting watching television. If I make a fist and clench it and then try to open it up, there's one finger that doesn't want to open up all the way.
Okay,
and that
is it your
stays like
index
that.
finger?
Middle finger.
Little finger, okay.
And it's like that all night. And in the morning when I get up and take a shower, it goes completely away for the rest of the day. It's just
Okay, how
an
much do you
evening
weigh?
thing.
What's your body weight? What's your body weight?
Nighttime.
What's your body weight, James?
200, I'm 5'9".
Okay, so that's about right. Okay. Okay, maybe a few pounds overweight, but just a few. All right. And so any other things going? Any high blood pressure, diabetes, any arthritis in a knee or a hip
No.
or okay. How many times a night do you get up to
Never.
urinate?
The only sometimes never. Okay, if it depends. If I drink a lot too late in the evening, I'll have to get up once in the middle of the night, but
Okay.
generally
But,
not at all.
okay, good. All right. Well, trigger finger is a nerve thing. Okay, it's caused by the skull squeezing the spinal cord. And it's not necessarily going to be equal on the right and left side. So you can have trigger finger on one hand and not on the other hand. Okay. And this is because the hole that the spinal cord comes through, because the spinal cord is made in the brain, comes out of this big hole, which is in Latin, foramen magnum, which is Latin for big hole. Okay. And the pressure is put on the spinal cord, and the spinal cord then sends messages out. You may get tremors. You ever get tremors? Get shakes or tremors, everything like that?
No.
Okay, good. But
No.
all right. And so, yeah, and you can begin to get these problems in your fingers and your hands and your wrists and say, oh, you have carpal tunnel syndrome, you have trigger finger and all that kind of stuff. It's really the skull squeezing the spinal cord. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're taking at 200 pounds. I want you to, and again, you may be doing this, but this is for our listening audience. You need to get rid of all the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, no brown rye, no oats, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. And when I say no fried foods, I mean no air frying, no deep frying, no pan frying, no frying of any kind. And then no carbonated drinks, even the diet ones got to go because the carbonation neutralizes stomach acid, so you cannot efficiently absorb minerals and digest food. Then I also want you to take 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month. There's 1 per 100 pounds of body weight. You weigh 200 pounds. It's easy math. 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, a full dose of everything twice a day. I want you to take 2 bottles a month of our MSM. So you can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at dinner, 3 at lunchtime. And they're going to support and promote maintenance repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, discs between the vertebrae, bone itself, bone marrow. Okay, very important here. So that those holes open up and take the pressure off the nerves and the spinal cord. And then I also want you to have our collagen peptides. Take a scoop of that in your breakfast drink in the morning and a scoop of that in your evening drink, the collagen peptides. Then vitamin D3, 3 of those twice a day. Okay. And then let's see here. I think that's where we want to go. And also, if you want to, you could throw in something like the Beyond OsteoFX, a scoop of that in your morning drink, a scoop of that in your evening drink. That's going to speed up the process. And then, call us every couple of weeks because people want to hear, because this is not an uncommon situation you have. And of course, it could be 1,000 times worse if you weren't taking the program you were taking, but it needs to be tweaked a little bit. Okay. And we can get rid of these sort of negative things happening. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much, Doc.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Thank you, James. Well, Dr. Wallach, I have a lot of people ask me, what are the different ways that you can take the tangy tangerine? One of my favorite ways is I will mix it in plain Greek full fat yogurt. I'll do half a scoop, mix it up in there, and I just absolutely love the taste. And I'll do that with my breakfast. So there's an option for some of you. You can do the tangy tangerine, and I like to do half doses so it's not quite so sweet. And I do my other half in my water and shake it up. And you can do the half a scoop of tangy tangerine, half a scoop of OsteoFX, a full scoop of collagen peptides, because there's no flavor to that. And you get all of that wonderful collagen from 5 different types of collagen. Mix it up and have that as part of your breakfast.
Okay, very, very good.
Does that sound okay?
It sounds very good.
Awesome. Now, I have a question coming in, and they want to know, are there any approved bottled oils?
No.
Even if it's organic?
No. If you want an oil, what you want to do is, eat the beans, just bake or boil some beans. If you want to, you can eat, go pull olives off the tree and eat them right off the tree. But you don't want the olive oil squeezed out of the olive and sitting on the shelf in a grocery store for 2 months, heating up and oxidizing and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so turn something that actually has some required nutrients in it. Okay, the EFAs and EFA pluses or prevent blood clots and that kind of stuff. It's very, very important to do those things.
So some other ways to find your EFAs, we're talking essential fatty acids, is fish. especially
correct.
salmon.
Fish liver, especially fish livers. Okay. Also, it's one of those things where want to make sure that you're not doing something bad, for instance, with something good. Don't do something bad with something good. People say, yeah, it's more convenient. I just take the BTT 2.0 tablets. I don't take the powder. Well, the powder is vitamins and minerals. The tablets are designed to support the immune system and also to be an anti-inflammatory pain reliever. Okay, it doesn't have all the nutrients in it. It's not designed to be a replacement for the powder. So somehow some people get that confused because they don't read the label. They just look at the title on the label. Oh, it's the same title as the powder, so it must be the same. No, it's not. Okay, the tablets are to support the immune system and to be anti-inflammatory, reduce pain or relieving inflammation, whereas the powder has 215 nutrients in it. Okay, which is designed to provide the nutrients necessary for all your biochemistry to work for every organ of the body. Two totally different things, so they're not interchangeable. I take them both. I take them both.
I take them both. I do as well. And those tangy tangerine tablets, folks, if you're familiar with ORAC scores, tangy tangerine tablets have 160,000 as their ORAC score. On the tangy tangerine, I believe it's 8,400. So you're looking at a huge difference when it comes to antioxidants that work on kicking those free radicals out of your body.
Yeah, if you have something serious, you have free radical damage, you have cancer, you have stuff like that, you want to be taking those tablets. Okay, but that's in addition to the powder. Okay, that's in addition to the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, not as a replacement, not interchangeable.
All right, let's try going to Vaughn again. Vaughn, go ahead and unmute. Let's see if we've got you connected.
Did it work?
Yes.
Did it? Oh, it did. Praise God. Good morning, Dr. Wallach.
Good morning.
Thank you for everything. But I have a question to ask you.
Now, you don't look like a Vaughn. You don't look like a Vaughn.
I am 63. I'm trying to catch you.
Is your name Vaughn or Vaughnette?
It's Vonzella.
I'm sorry?
Vonzella. Z-E-L-L-A.
Bondella. Okay.
Yeah, so we cut it off and say Von.
Oh, Bon. Okay, we're thinking
Yes.
Vaughn. Okay.
Yes.
Bondella. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Now, I'm 165 pounds, which is overweight. I already know. But I've been on the products for 2 months. But I have a question to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
I switched from 2.0 to the 2.5. And all of a sudden, when I did that, because, being gluten-free, the diet, everything is the same. But I started, and you said put 3 MSMs in your drink. So I do it like every drink that I drink, because I drink the tangerine all day. I'm kind of like broke out. I used to be allergic to sulfur. So the whole body, but the diet is healthy. I still drink it. So I'm going like, well, maybe my body will overcome whatever it's going through.
Okay, well, if you're taking 3 of the MSM, how many times a day? 3, 4, 5?
It'll be 4 or 5. How many?
Yeah.
Because I drink the liquid all day.
Okay, well, here's what I want you to do is cut it back at 165 pounds. I want you to cut it back to take 2, 3 times a day.
Okay.
Okay.
But
Now, let's see if
besides that,
everything else stays
everything
the
else is
same.
usually, it's on schedule. But that was the only difference, because when I was at the 2.0, I used to put the 3 what is it, MSM? I used to put them in the bottle and drink it, no problems. But I went to the 2.5 and I was going like, I got a reaction from the 2.5. So I was going like,
Well, you have 2 choices. You can have 2 choices. You go back to the 2.0, or you can stay on the 2.5 and cut your MSM in half.
Okay. Got it. Now, let me ask you the last question that I have to ask you. We're all up in age. My question is, the tooth decay, if we got implants, I know it affects our skeletal system. What's your thought on tooth decay in the implants?
Okay, well, first of all, you have to appreciate that your jaw and your upper dental arcade, where the upper teeth are, is all part of your skull.
Right,
So what's going on in your jaw represents what's going on in your skull.
right.
And what's going on in the skull represents what's going on in your jaw. Did you have braces when you were a teenager? Did you go to an orthodontist?
No, no.
Okay, good. Did you ever have receding gums or bleeding gums?
The bleeding gums, because, they were bleeding until I started taking your product.
Okay, good. Okay, so basically when you have bleeding gums, this means that the bone underneath is not happy and healthy. Okay, your gums there's two things happening. Number one, the blood vessels supporting the blood supply to the teeth are being pinched, and so they're bleeding. Another thing is they're being pinched and the bones underneath them are not doing real well. Okay, because they're not getting the nutrition. And so again, all those symptoms will go away when you get off all the bad foods. You take the big hammer, okay, the 2 healthy brain and heart packs at 165 pounds. You want 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month, full dose of everything twice a day, except for the MSM. You want to take three twice a day, or 2-3 times a day, however you're going to do it. Okay.
Okay,
Keep in touch.
I will. I love
Okay.
it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Bon.
Mhm.
All right, thank you, Vanzella. So glad to have you on. Dr. Wallach, let's see, we've got about 9 minutes before we take a break. So let's go to one of the email questions that came
Okay.
in.
Okay.
And Danny says, I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney failure. Would like to know if there's anything I can do to slow the progression. Now, Danny didn't give a weight, but let's go for, say, 200 pounds, Dr. Wallach. What would you recommend for somebody 200 pounds who is experiencing stage 4 kidney failure? Now, I know there's a lot of questions that you would have for this individual. But with kidney failure, most of the time it's safe to consume. There's also some blood pressure issues.
That's correct. Okay. When you have kidney failure, it's really a matter of the arteries in the kidney damaged. Okay. And they're not getting sufficient blood supply to the kidney so it can do its job of filtering. Okay. That's the short version of what's going on there. And so let's see here. We don't have a weight for Danny, do we? So let's just say, well, you said 200 pounds. Okay, I got it. Okay, 200 pounds. All right. Need to take 2 healthy brain and heart packs from none of the bad foods again. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, no bar, rye, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Even the diet one's got to go. And no fried foods means no air frying, no pan frying, no deep frying. Okay, no frying. And then we want this Danny to take 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, a full dose, I think, twice a day, 2 bottles a month of the MSM. So you can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time to support and promote maintenance repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, including the walls of the arteries and walls of the vein that go to the brain, the heart, and the kidneys. And then we need to have the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. I'd have them take 3. I'd go for 3 times a day. It'll be 2 bottles a month. I think you can scrape up 3 times a day out of 2 bottles a month of the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. And they're going to support healthy blood flow through blocked arteries in the brain and the heart and the kidneys. They'll also support healthy blood pressure. And so usually we take people that haven't urinated in 10 years or on dialysis, say 6 days a week. And in 2 weeks' time on our program, they're urinating. So they drop the dialysis to 3 days a week. And then in 2 more weeks, they're totally off of dialysis. The kidney responds very well when you do everything right. And so this should respond very, very, what should I say, predictably, because we do this so often throughout the world. And so it just works like a charm. Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wallach. And we've got 6 minutes. Let's go to Deborah, who has her hand up. Deborah, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, Dr. Wallach.
Hi.
I I've got a friend that don't have a lot of information about her. All I know is that she's had a stroke, and she still has a right-sided weakness, unable to really use that arm and leg as that much. And so what would you suggest for her?
Okay, do you have a weight, or should we just go by 100 pounds of body weight?
I just go by 100 pounds. I don't have a weight.
Okay, so basically she needs to get rid of all the bad foods: no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, no butter, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Even the diet one's got to go. I want her to have, per 100 pounds of body weight, 1 healthy brain and heart pack per month. If she weighs more than 100 pounds, like 120 or something like that, get an extra bottle of Arsenal with the 5 cofactors. So you take 3 of those twice a day, or 2-3 times a day, for a total of 6 a day of Arsenal with the 5 cofactors, because 1 bottle comes with the healthy brain and heart pack. Then I also want her to have the MSM, 3 of those twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. And they're going to support and promote maintenance repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc between the vertebrae, including the walls of arteries and veins. And then let's see here, collagen peptides, a scoop of that in the morning drink, a scoop of that in the evening drink. Again, it'll support and promote the immune system and the bone marrow, but also in maintenance of the connective tissue in the walls of the arteries and the veins. And then let's see here, I do want Deborah to have, let's see here, vitamin D3, 3 of those twice a day. It's 2 bottles a month, so absorb stuff and put them in the right place, all the minerals in the correct place. And there's 2 types of strokes. One is a hemorrhagic stroke, where the blood vessel bursts, might even have a small aneurysm and it bursts, and so it's a bleeding into the brain. The other type of stroke is a blood clot in a vein or an artery. Okay, so in either case, this program is going to deal with both of those. Okay, because you get the EFAs and EFA pluses in the healthy brain and heart pack, and you get the connective tissue supporting materials in the MSM and in the collagen peptides and so forth. So this is going to be a very easy thing, but it does take some time to repair. Now, if she does have mental symptoms, okay, instead of just pain or dizziness or lightheadedness, if she has kind of symptoms associated with that, she can go ahead and take the, let's see here, Memory FX, 3 of those twice a day. Also the Synaptive, take 3 of those twice a day. And also the de-stress capsules, take 3 of those twice a day. And that's going to give the brain what it needs, except for one more thing. They need 3 eggs twice a day with soft yolks. They need the cholesterol to rebuild the myelin, which is the white matter of the brain, and also the spinal cord. And it heals very quickly when you're eating the eggs with soft yolks. We're talking about soft boiled soft yolk, soft poached soft yolk, soft scrambled in butter. And hard-boiled eggs won't count, and because it destroys the cholesterol, which is what you want here to help her rebuild the white matter of the brain, okay? And also the walls of the blood vessels. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Wallach.
You bet.
Awesome. Thank you, Deborah. And so, Dr. Wallach, I'd like to mention a couple of those things that you had said that after a stroke can affect the brain, and that could be slurred speech, delayed speech, inability to speak, in addition to not having movement or limited movement with paralysis on either side of the body, right? Drooping of the face, all those things.
And a lot of tremors, a lot of, the people get a lot of this tremor stuff.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things to look for, folks, when it comes to the effects of what initially is because of poor diet, not getting the nutrients that the body needs in order to actually thrive. Because the RDA, recommended daily allowance, that's barely surviving amounts. And on some of those things, they don't have amounts for at all. And just because it says FDA approved does not mean it's beneficial to our body. I just, and Jonty's probably gonna hit me
Yeah,
for
well,
that or whatever.
when they say FDA approved, their primary goal was to make sure it wasn't going to kill you.
That's right. Well, let's go above and beyond, because we are overachievers, Dr. Wallach. And let's give our body what it actually needs.
Well, there you go.
And right now, we need a 5-minute break. So everybody, we will be right back with Ask Doc Live. Go ahead and get up and stretch and make sure that you have your cup full of something to drink, because we want to stay hydrated. We are getting into those summer months where it is warming up and the body needs extra fluids. If you have plant-derived minerals, throw in a splash of plant-derived minerals. You can't get enough minerals, folks. The body absorbs it all the way through the system, and every single part of your body needs trace minerals. We will be right back on Ask Doc Live. Don't go away. Hello, and we are back on Ask Doc Live. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. I really do truly hope that you are receiving some information that is empowering to you, that you can utilize. I mean, we have so many different options. Even if you have specific allergies to different things, that allergy is actually because of a compromised digestive system. Working on the digestive system and getting the bacteria right, healing that lining, getting that gluten out of the system and allowing that villi that goes like a shag rug all throughout the digestive system, allowing that to breathe and absorb and not be coated anymore, is going to get you in not just baby steps, but huge steps towards achieving optimal health. And that includes eliminating food allergies. And the only reason why I say that is because I did it myself. Food allergies were something that I thought that I had, that I was going to live with all of my life. And now I have been able to eat anything I want. And when I say anything I want, that does not include bread and all those different things that were negatively affecting my health before. So getting my digestive system straight and functioning properly and getting all of these nutrients into the body and absorbed deep into the cells is what has given me my life back. And Dr. Wallach, welcome back to Ask Doc Live.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fabulously.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's go to the next question that was emailed in, Dr. Wallach. And Lydia says, I have been having pain in my knees. I'm thinking it might be from bad cartilage. Is there anything that I can take? Some kind of protein, eat more protein, or what are your recommendations? So Lydia is 67 years old. She's 125 pounds at 5'4". What would you recommend for Lydia, Dr. Wallach?
Okay. When you have knee pain, it's definitely a deficiency. Okay. And it indicates what's going on in every joint in your body, including your skull, your hips, your knees, your ankles, your shoulders, your wrists, your vertebrae, your back, your jaw. Everything is in the same dilemma. Okay. And so the first thing you have to do is get rid of all the bad stuff. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, no butter, rye, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. The diet one's got to go. When I say no fried foods, it means no air frying, no deep frying, no pan frying, no frying whatsoever. And then at 125 pounds, I would go with one healthy brain and heart pack per month. Get another bottle of R-selenium with the 5 cofactors. There's one bottle of the R-selenium with the 5 cofactors in the healthy brain and heart pack. So you can take 3 of those twice a day or 2-3 times a day for a total of 6 a day. And then you need, because you have a knee problem, I'd go with 2 bottles a month of our MSM. So you can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time. They're going to support and promote maintenance repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc between the vertebrae, bone breaks, the bone itself, including the knees and the hips and the wrists and the elbows and the shoulders and the vertebrae and ankles and so on. And then you also need the Beyond Osteo FX. Take a scoop of that with your breakfast drink and a scoop of that your evening drink. Don't forget the collagen peptides, a scoop of that with your breakfast drink and a scoop of that with your evening drink. Vitamin D3, take 3 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month, so you can absorb the minerals and put them in all the right places. And if you have really restrictive pain, we do have the CM cream. You can put 4 or 5 drops of our trauma oil from our aromatherapy oil division. You can put the 4 or 5 drops of the trauma oil and like a teaspoon of our CM cream, put that on the knee. And within minutes, you'll get significant pain relief, and that will last for, say, 2 hours or so. And usually within a week or so, you won't even need the CM cream and the trauma oil, okay? Because once you begin to repair things, the discomfort, the swelling, the pain all go away. So you're not alone, Lydia. This is a very common thing. And that's because our foods do not have everything we need. I don't care how well you eat. I don't care if you're spending a lot of money on food. Some foods are a negative, okay? And so you really have to watch it. And so here's where I, would be sure to, go online. Rebecca's going to give you websites and stuff like that so you can get a hold of our books and CDs and DVDs so that you can get information which is going to help you understand why you have to make these changes in your diet. Okay, over to you, Rebecca.
All right, thank you, Dr. Wallach. And yes, if you are interested in any of Dr. Wallach's books, we have the most popular ones at askdoclive.com. But if you're looking at the CDs and some of the, well, Dr. Wallach, I've been looking at your website the last few days, and there is so many options. I had somebody yesterday want one of everything. It was pretty cool, because then I was able to get in there and really take a look at what you've done over decades, Dr. Wallach. We have some of your earliest lectures on CD, on DVD, and the message is still the same.
Yeah, the truth then is still the truth now.
That's right. That's right. So drjwallach.com, if you're interested in seeing all of the publications that Dr. Wallach has available for you to be able to obtain. And I'm amazed at how affordable they are as well, Dr. Wallach, which is fantastic. You want to make sure that people get the information. And for people that are wanting to get these as gifts, or if you're in the longevity business and you want to provide these as incentives, or, just kind of a congratulations for reaching goals, you can buy multiple copies and receive huge discounts on orders of 10 or more.
And that expenditure is tax deductible because it's growing your business and so forth. And it's totally designed to be compatible with everything that longevity does.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us on Ask Doc Live. We are not done yet. We've got another 50 minutes. And if you're on live with us and would like to ask a question of Dr. Wallach, find that option in the Zoom menu on raising your hand. Get your hand raised. Let's get your questions answered. We are going to go to the next question that we have, Dr. Wallach. And Dorothy would like to know what to do for nerve pain from spinal stenosis of the neck. So we're going to go by per 100 pounds on this one, Dr. Wallach.
Okay. Spinal stenosis of the neck. Okay.
And the nerve pain associated with it.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, again, the spinal cord comes out of the skull through the foramen magnum, the big hole, which is Latin for big hole. The spinal cord is made in the brain. Most people don't realize that. They think the spinal cord is made in the spinal cord, but no, it's actually made in the brain, comes out through the back of the skull, down the back. And wherever there's a vertebrae and a disc, if the disc shrinks, the vertebrae get closer together and they begin to pinch the the spinal cord and some of the nerves that are, coming out, the sciatic nerves coming out of the spinal cord. And they get all kinds of symptoms, okay, including terrible neck pain. Of course, when they lay down at night, the posture puts pressure on that joint. I think there's like 8 joints in the neck, okay, because of all the various vertebrae and so forth, and the foramen magnum squeezing that spinal cord. And it causes all kinds of symptoms downstream in your shoulders, your elbows, in your wrists, in your fingers, in your back. Makes you get up at night to urinate because those nerves are being squeezed to control the bladder for both males and females. And then also things happen in the hips and the knees. And can be coming from what's going on in your neck. Okay. And most people don't realize this. Many doctors don't realize this. Even some chiropractors who should know don't realize this. Okay. And so basically, and we didn't get a weight, so we're going to go by 100 pounds. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So Dorothy, you need to get rid of all the bad foods. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, no butter, rye, oats, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Even the diet ones got to go. And then let's say per 100 pounds of body weight, I want you to have 1 healthy brain and heart pack per month. I want you to get, if you only weigh 110 pounds or less, I want you to get another bottle of our selenium with 5 cofactors. You can take 3 of those twice a day. Then you need, per 100 pounds of body weight, 1 bottle of MSM. So you can take 3 twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. And they're going to support and promote maintenance repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, including the walls of arteries and veins and bone marrow and so forth, where you make your white blood cells, your red blood cells, and platelets, and so on. And then let's see here, it also rebuild the disc between the vertebrae and keep the vertebrae from getting closer together and smashing the nerves. Okay, and that's what's called spinal stenosis, and that is just sort of like osteoporosis of your spinal joints. Okay, from the vertebrae and the disc between the vertebrae. But they can all grow back very quickly, okay? But just taking a pain reliever, you'll get pain relief, but the disease keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and finally you submit to surgery, and then you have a mess, and so on. And so you really want to get on these nutrients as we've laid out here, and call us every couple of weeks, because you're going to have a great story, Dorothy, okay? You're going to have a great story. But if you want some pain relief, again, you can use our CM cream with, say, a teaspoon of CM cream on your neck, over the place where the pain starts. And obviously, in addition to the same cream, I would put, say, 4 or 5 drops of the, let's see here. Let's see here. Oh, trauma oil. There you go, trauma oil. Okay, you need the trauma oil, 4 or 5 drops in the CM cream, and that will get rid of the pain for a couple of hours. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Wallach, for that. I know Dorothy's going to thank you as well. You touched a little bit about it in the monologue today. Diabetes. Let's talk a little deeper about diabetes. And with diabetes and blood sugar issues, there are pharmaceuticals that are commonly recommended for addressing those conditions. Can we really go deep into what is the underlying cause of diabetes and what band-aids these pharmaceuticals might be doing?
Okay. If I really, really wanted to be skeptical and a bad boy, I would say the biggest problem associated with diabetes is the $342 billion we spend every year to treat the symptoms of diabetes. Because that $342 billion goes to the doctors. Now that's just to treat the symptoms. And so they know they're going to get their $342 billion again next year. That way they can plan, how to get the college money for their kids' tuition, how to pay their mortgage, and get their vacation in Cabo and all that kind of stuff, right? And so type 2 diabetes, which makes up 98% of the diabetic population, is a very simple nutritional deficiency disease. We have the healthy blood sugar pack, okay? If that's your only problem is diabetes, which it usually isn't, but we have the healthy blood sugar pack, which is our healthy start pack with the sweeties added to it, okay? And don't cold turkey off your medication, but as the blood sugar begins to drop, you can slowly reduce the medication based on the numbers. And this is one of those things where there should be no type 2 diabetes, because everybody should be taking these nutrients as a preventative. You know, everybody's big on taking vaccinations to prevent viruses and all that kind of stuff, infections, but they don't think about preventing diabetes and arthritis and Alzheimer's disease and heart disease and obesity and high blood pressure and MS and asthma and the need for dialysis and all that kind of stuff. They don't think about preventing those things. Okay, well, if I get a problem with those, insurance will pay for the medication or the therapy. Okay, well, that's everybody's choice, I suppose. But it's one of those things where type 1 diabetes is a birth defect. It is not due to a genetic birth defect. Mama was missing stuff when the beta cells are being formed in the islets of Langerhans and the pancreas. And you should have like 6,000 of those islets of 6,000 of those beta cells in every one of those islets of Langerhans. But what if you only have 6 instead of 6,000? You only have 6. Okay, well, then you're going to have type 1 diabetes. And invariably, most doctors, when a kid is born with diabetes, and they take the blood sample from the umbilical cord, because they make a lot of money from type 1 diabetes. Okay, and so they put them on, when they find they're diabetic, they put them on the metformin, okay, which is an oral form of insulin. And it doesn't work. They come back, their blood sugar is worse than ever. They say, okay, you have a genetic form of diabetes. We're just going to go ahead and treat you. You got to come in every month so we can monitor it and so on, blah, blah, blah. Well, under those circumstances, the doctor has a patient for life. Okay. But if the mother's getting all the nutrition she needs and the embryo would need, say, for 6 months to a year before pregnancy, and then there's not going to be any more type 1 diabetes. Okay, but when women go to the OB/GYN and say, you know, I missed 2 periods, I think I may be pregnant, and he does a pregnancy test, sure enough, she's pregnant. Well, it's too late. The baby's already got all these problems were based on, you know, not having all those nutrients in optimal amounts. And so the baby can be born with type 1 diabetes, Erb's palsies, and see here, things like osteoporosis of the skull, Down syndrome, you name it. Okay, all this stuff just drives you crazy. They're totally preventable.
So Dr. Wallach, John has a question that's related to this, and he is 6 foot, 160 pounds. So he's tall and thin, 56 years old. He's been having a hard time getting his A1C in range. What would be your full recommendation for somebody who is dealing with blood sugar issues?
Okay. Well, this is something that's very easy. You can go to a pharmacy without a prescription, and you can get these test strips you can pee on and see if you have sugar in your urine. You can get the test strips where you stick your finger and get those little lancets, they call them, stick your finger and get a drop of blood and use those test strips. And they only cost like $1.50 a piece. You don't have to go sit in the doctor's waiting room and get COVID. Okay, we were sitting in the waiting room and so forth. And you don't have to pay $100 for a visit. You get a bottle of 3, it costs you $5. Okay, and you can test it yourself. You can manage your own diabetes. You can test it, see how, you know, if you're under control or not under control or so forth. Okay, and so basically, at 160 pounds, this guy needs to. I'm assuming it's a guy. Is that correct?
Yes, John.
Okay, John. Okay, all right. And so at 160 pounds, I would have John take 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month. None of the bad foods, of course, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no gluten, no wheat, bread, rye, no sugar, no carbonated drinks, but 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, a full dose of everything twice a day. I want him to take 2 bottles a month of our MSM, so I take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time. And then I also want him to have, let's see here, a scoop of our collagen peptides, a breakfast drink, a scoop at our dinner drink. That's one of the large canisters of collagen peptides. Vitamin D3, 3 of those, twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month. Okay. And then for the diabetes, to get things under control, get the A1C down to 5 or so. Well, certainly below 6, like 5.7 or 5.3, that kind of stuff. You don't want it at 14. Okay, your A1C tells you whether you're managing your diabetes correctly or not. But here's where you want to also add the sweeties. Go ahead and take 3 of those twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. And it's made 2 bottles a month because they're small bottles. And as your blood sugar drops, you can slowly reduce your medication. Don't cold turkey off the medication, but you can slowly reduce the medication for diabetes based on the numbers. Usually within anywhere from 2 to 4 to 6 weeks, you'll be an ex-diabetic. Except if you're a type 1, you might go from an A1C of 8, you probably get it down to, say, 6 or 6.5 or something like that. You won't get it down to 5 because there's still a lot of struggle going on there because don't have enough of those beta cells to make enough insulin to do everything correctly. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Wallach, for that. I have lots of questions in regards to blood sugar. So that will answer many questions that we'll be able to use this video and share with others to help them know exactly what they need to do in order to take control of their health. And Dr. Wallach, one thing that I really appreciate you for is not telling people to cold turkey off their pharmaceuticals. You don't want to do that, folks. You want to make sure that you are monitoring at home, just as Dr. Wallach mentioned, whatever it is that you're taking that pharmaceutical for, and work with your doctors to reduce it until you no longer need it, because the body is getting what it needs in order to function the way it was divinely created. So
Well, you get an A+.
I like A+. I might even go back to school, but who knows? The next question that I have, Dr. Wallach, is how about age spots, like age spots on the face? Thankfully, I don't have them anymore, but what would you recommend for somebody that is dealing with age spots?
Okay, well, age spots are oxidative damage to the cells in the skin. Usually, the glands in the skin that produce the oils that keep the skin healthy and happy and so forth. And so there's a lot going on there when you have age spots. They're an indication that something's not right with the physiology of your skin, usually a nutritional deficiency. So they need to get rid of all the bad foods. They need to take the 90 essential nutrients, better yet, since there's potential danger there of a stroke or something, I would go with the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, 1 per 100 pounds of body weight. I would also take the MSM. I would take the collagen peptides, all for the health of the skin. And then we have another one. It's a secret sauce for skin. It's called hair, skin, and nails. Okay, hair, skin, and nails. Go ahead and take 3 of those twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. And the age spots begin to go away. And they will stay away as long as you stay away from the bad foods, because it's a combination of not having the nutrients to protect you and doing bad stuff like eating fried foods and eating gluten and drinking carbonated drinks, those kind of things. They contribute significantly to the formation of age spots.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Wallach. And something that just came out that I'm super excited about, in fact, I'm picking up mine today, is we now have a collagen bundle that is a topical for the skin. So you've got 2 parts there. One of it is a collagen cream that you apply on top, and another part of it is a hyaluronic acid, which helps to defoliate and hydrate the skin. So I'm real excited about that bundle. So get with the person that recommended this program to you and ask them about how you also can get your own bundle for the skin and the nutrients, because whatever we do on the skin is only skin deep. We want to work from the inside out and giving our body all those nutrients.
Yeah, because the skin is kind of like a barometer. What's going on in your skin is going on in your heart and your brain and your liver and your lungs and stuff. And your skin stuff won't kill you, but that same stuff that's damaging the skin, that damages your liver and your heart and your lungs and your brain will kill you.
That's right.
So yeah, you want to pay attention to those details. Those are red warning lights.
And there are so many red warning lights, folks, that
We actually,
are just
we actually have a
ignored.
CD. Yeah, we actually have a CD called the red warning lights. Goes into 8 or 9 of the ones that are, red warning lights for really, really serious, dangerous deficiencies.
Well, and let's talk about some of the worst red warning lights, Dr. Wallach, that people just ignore.
Okay. I think some of them they ignore is dry skin, cracked skin, that kind of stuff, because the same thing's happening to your arteries and your veins on the inside. Okay, that's one. And then another one is constipation and diarrhea. Oh yeah, everybody in my family's got constipation, so I figure it's just a genetic thing. No, you're eating gluten. And so you've killed all the villi in your intestines. So instead of your intestines looking like a shag rug and all that valuable surface area to absorb nutrition, suddenly now your intestines look like a plastic tube. You've lost 90% of your absorptive surface. And so when you have constipation or diarrhea, you've got big trouble coming. Not maybe tomorrow, not maybe next week, not maybe in a month, but in 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, a year, you're in big trouble.
So everybody, don't ignore those red warning lights, especially that dry skin. I mean, so many times people think of, oh, dry skin, it's just because it's winter now or it's summer now. Well, no, that dry skin can happen anytime, and it's because the body is missing things from the inside that is not getting, and it is just telling you, hey, pay attention, don't ignore me. Our bodies, if we don't have our bodies, what do we have, folks? We have nothing. And as we get older, let's enjoy life. Let's be able to cherish those moments, and not just for ourselves, but for our families and our communities also. Share this information with people you love, people you know, people that you are acquaintances with who are struggling with health. Is now that you have information, you are empowered to be able to share it with other people. And I invite you to do so. So, Dr. Wallach, we have about 30 more minutes here. And I want to encourage anybody, if you have any questions and you're on live with us, raise your hand. I have tons of questions from emails, but I absolutely love being able to get people on with us live and talk with them and interact with them and have that real personal touch that you give. So here's something that I've been wondering about, okay? And this is something you personally have experience with. And I know we've touched on it in the past, and that has to do with children and behavioral issues, what we now have as labels of ADD, ADHD, autism. I mean, there's so many different labels, Dr. Wallach. Please share with us once again your experience. And folks, this is something that is such an encouragement to me, because whenever we see a kiddo that's having behavioral issues, we're like, oh, we automatically think into the future and all of the bad things that are going to happen with them. Well, this man that we have with us today has done more good than anyone I have ever met in my whole entire life. And they were wanting to institutionalize him because of behavior. Make me cry. So Dr. Wallach, take over and share with us your story.
Okay, thank you so much for all you do, and thank you for allowing me to share my story. Let's see here. As you said, ADD, attention deficit disorder, ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. These are both nutritional deficiency diseases of the central nervous system, the brain and the spinal cord of kids. And as you point out, I'll jump back to my early days when I was about 4 years old. I started having ADHD, I was actually very violent, and I would just beat up other kids. They would just walk by me and smile, and I just punch them, kind of thing. I was very strong because we lived on a farm, and I'm throwing bales of hay to the calves and ponies and stuff like that, and carrying bags of feed to the chickens and so on. So I was very strong, and I was very disruptive in church and in school, and anytime we'd go someplace where there's a lot of people, I was disruptive. So they would really have to have a parent on each side of me to keep me out of trouble. Okay. And so by the time I was 9 years old, 20 doctors had checked me out. 20 doctors, and this is in the state of Missouri. We lived in a little town called, outside the town of Wellston, Missouri, outside of St. Louis, and on a farm. And so the doctor, the pediatrician said, okay, look, Joel has got this problem. We have 20 of our best doctors look at him. They can't figure it out. So we want to put him into an institution and try and get him cured, but he can't go home every night. He's going to have to stay there. And so my parents agreed to that because they were tired of having to mess with all my trouble I'm creating. And so it's Friday night, and I'm sitting on the edge of my bed. It's like 9 o'clock at night, and they're packing up my clothes and things. So on Monday, they're going to take me to this institution. Well, I'm saying to myself, well, why is it I have these problems? Okay, not too many people have these problems. How come I have this problem? And so I'm thinking, well, I'm eating the same thing my mom and dad are eating, or are eating. Okay, I'm eating the same thing that our animals are eating, that we grow the food on the property, and they don't have the problems. Why do I have the problems? I said, uh-oh. Now the animals, we're giving different things in addition to what we're eating. We're giving them other stuff. And so the next morning, Saturday morning, I ran out to the barn. I dumped my oatmeal and my Cheerios and breakfast of champions Wheaties out to the chickens. And I got the alfalfa pellets that were enriched with vitamins and minerals, and poured milk on them, and had that for breakfast on Saturday morning, Sunday morning, Monday morning. And by Monday afternoon, just 2.5 days after I started, I'm perfectly cured. Now, this, I didn't say anything to anybody, but it freaked me out. And so when I go to church and people are whispering and pointing and noticing that I'm just sitting there, not disrupting anymore. And suddenly now I'm not pushing the other kids around and kicking them when they're on the ground and so on. I'm being a pretty nice guy. And so what happened? Maybe they thought I was on some kind of medication or something, but that went on and on and on and on. And so this became a big thing. And to make a long story short, I obviously, went to school and I got my degree in agriculture. I got my degree in veterinary medicine. I went to Africa, worked on the White Rhino Conservation Project, and I had written a paper on a mast owl from pollution. And when I was in Africa working on the White Rhino Project, Marlon Perkins from the old Mutual Omaha Kingdom show, and Dr. Barry Commoner from Washington University and Barnes Hospital in St. Louis used my paper to get a $25 million grant from NIH to study pollution, and diseases in zoo animals that would affect people. So just kind of like a canary in the mine in the coal mines. So if these zoo animals began to die and they would trace it to that nutrient or that poison, they could say, okay, we got to evacuate the city because the people are in danger. So that was the whole idea of that study. And so that was the beginning. And so I began to deal with all this stuff. And of course, many awards. The Klaus Schwartz Award from the University of California for my work with muscular dystrophy with Jerry Lewis and the telethon. You don't hear about that anymore because we found the cause, prevention, and cure of muscular dystrophy. You don't hear about cystic fibrosis anymore because we found the cause, prevention, and cure of cystic fibrosis. You don't hear about sudden infant death syndrome anymore because as a side benefit, Dr. Milan and I, we went to China. We did 1,700 autopsies on kids under the age of 10. From Qishan University in Heilongjiang province, which is in northeastern China, and got it published and got the Lifetime Achievement Award from the United Nations. Okay. Now I'm telling you this not to brag. I'm telling you this because I want you to know that this is recognized by scholars as being useful, correct information. And so this is why we were able to start Longevity, or 50 years ago. It's gone through many machinations, different names, and we buy other companies and add to what we're doing and so on. And so we are continuing to grow. We're continuing to buy other companies and add them to ours. And we continue to create new products based on new data and so forth. And so this is not just an overnight thing. This has been a journey of 75 years. And it's going to be, I believe, for another couple of 100 years. So we're very excited about that. Okay, I hope that answers the question.
That does. Thank you so much, Dr. Wallach. And I have a lot of people that ask, well, why do you have so many products? And you just covered some of that. As we are going through life and we see a company that has a wonderful product and they're struggling, longevity brings them in under their wing, under that umbrella, to be able to allow that product that has so many benefits in improving people's lives to continue on. And I mean, some of those products, we have a question here in regards to truckers that don't drink coffee. What do we have that help them stay alert? I mean,
Rebound.
We've got Rebound, we have Pollen Burst, we have ACT, we have Electrofuel. And many of these products are products that have been brought in under the umbrella because of the great benefits that they offer that build health and not just wear it down or over stimulate the adrenals.
Yeah, well, the original concept of energy drinks was to get caffeine and sugar into people so that they have energy to do their work, okay, if you would. But of course, over time, that is a negative because it leaches the nutrients out of the tissue, and people began to just live on the sugar and the caffeine and stay away from good food and don't take vitamins and minerals. And so ultimately, you get a bad outcome. And so when we came up with Rebound, we actually built that for Theo Ratliff, our great basketball player who lost his position with the Atlanta Hawks. And he'd been with many professional basketball teams over the years, but he lost his position with the Atlanta Hawks when he was 24 years old because he had bone-to-bone arthritis in both his knees. The cartilage slipped off one of his hips, so he had arthritis there, fractured his shooting arm and wrist, and he was useless to the Atlanta Hawks at that point. He said, well, you're a good basketball player, but you're too fragile to play pro ball, so we got to let you go.
At
so we came up at 24,
folks.
Yeah.
An
And
athlete.
so, professional athlete, yep, AAA, okay. And so we got him on the Rebound. We built that for him. We also came out with our Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. We made that for him. And in 3 months' time, he went back, got his position back with the Atlanta Hawks. He played for 11 more years and made $100 million in contracts. Now, he stayed with our program. He knew that's why he got better. And so he just stuck with that program, no matter, because a lot of people would be egotistical and say, well, I don't need that stuff anymore. I'm doing great here. And then in 6 months' time, a year later, they'd be crashed again. But he stayed with our program of the Rebound, and he stayed with the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. And now he has this big facility, this big property in Alabama, which he gets young people who want to be professional athletes to go there to learn how to train properly and how to eat properly and how to take the nutrients properly. And of course, all the stuff that we know are good for you, and the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack and the Rebound and all that kind of stuff. And so he does this as a payback to America. So I just really thought that was great, as Theo Ratliff.
Yeah, that is great that he's actually giving back and he's sharing what he learned that benefited himself with others. And I've met Theo. He's like way
He's
up.
he's 7'1".
I felt at 5'7.5", I felt like I was 2 inches tall. But just the nicest, kindest hearted man I've met. Right next to you, of course.
Oh.
And something that you mentioned there is something that I've really taken to heart. I had great results. I had the intuition in me to think, okay, why am I getting these great results? Well, I didn't want to go back to where I was. So I didn't start eating the way I did. I didn't drop the stuff that I was doing, because that's what was making me sick in the first place. Well, that was part of it. It was not giving my body the nutrients that it needed in order to be strong. So folks, like Dr. Wallach has said many times, when somebody asks them, well, how long do I have to take this? As long as you breathe oxygen, as long as you're above ground and not 6 foot under, or wherever it is that you might fall, you need nutrients. Your body can't survive or thrive without them. So think about it. You are worth it, everybody. Invest in yourself. It's the greatest investment that you could possibly give to yourself and your future. You are listening to Ask Doc Live, that is sponsored by AskDocLive.com. Again, if you were referred to this program by somebody specific, get back with the person that shared this program with you. They have their own special way of being able to get the products to you, or they can refer you to who they get their products from. We want to make sure that they get the thank you for sharing this information with you. If you have never spoken to anybody before, or you're part of the Critical Health News or the Ask Doc Live newsletter, and you gained this information from the newsletter or our good friend George Norrie and Coast to Coast AM, you can answer or do a reply to that newsletter. We have certified holistic health coaches that will be able to help you in getting the information that you need in order to make sure that your body is able to have those raw ingredients to achieve optimal health. Dr. Wallach, let's go to Bill, who has his hand up. Bill, if you're able to come on camera with us, that would be fabulous. If not, go ahead and unmute yourself. You are on live with Dr. Wallach.
Hi, Doc Wallach. This is actually not Bill.
That does not sound like Bill.
No, this is his fiance, and my name is Kathleen. And I have 3 things I'd like to ask you about, Doc Wallach.
Okay.
Because I'm not really anxious to go to see the doctors anymore. Okay, so the first one is I had fallen down, and my left knee, right around the kneecap, I don't know if it's meniscus or whatever, but I hurt that, and then it seemed like I got better, and then I hurt it again. And so now I'm at a point to where, like, if you sit down and my leg is down and I get up, it's like I have to kind of work on a little bit to be able to put the weight down on it to straighten it out to walk. Once I start walking, I'm okay. It's just, it doesn't like being straight down. So that's one thing. Another thing is I had cataract surgery about just about a year ago now, and I'm a very nearsighted person. And I was worried about the retina detached because I don't, they said when you have, when you're as nearsighted as I am, that could be a problem. Well, I'm experiencing right now in my right eye, I'm seeing not like the little things that you see, but like a long thread, no dashes of light or anything. And I'm worried about that. I don't know if that's something that'll get better or not. And then also I have a problem with my ear where after I got a flu shot about 5 years ago, my ear kind of shut up and never really opened. And it like opens and shuts and opens and shuts. So I have those 3 problems that maybe you can.
Okay, when you say the ear opens and shuts, you mean hearing comes and goes?
Well, my right ear, it's like it gets clogged up, and then I have to push around on my ear, and then I can open it up, but it doesn't necessarily stay open all the time.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever get buzzing or ringing in the ear?
I don't. Well, I do have a noise. I couldn't exactly tell you what it was. Not all the time though, but if it's real quiet, that's the only time I notice a noise.
Okay, is it a straight noise like a kind of thing, or?
It is kind of like that.
Okay, yeah, that's called tinnitus.
Okay.
That's caused by osteoporosis of the skull. How old are you?
I'm going to be 79 years old next week.
Yeah, okay. 79, and you're a lady, okay.
Yeah.
And how much do you weigh?
I weigh around 161 pounds.
Okay. All right.
I'm about
So-
5'4", 5'4.5", 5'4", something like that.
5'4", okay. Okay, got it. All right. So basically, you need to get rid of all the bad stuff. And this is for everybody else listening and watching as well. No fried foods, no deep fried, no pan fried, no air fried, okay, none of that kind of stuff. No oils of any kind. Absolutely no gluten, no wheat, bran, rye, oats, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Even the diet ones got to go because carbonation of the diet drinks still neutralize stomach acid, so you cannot absorb minerals or digest food. And then at 161 pounds, I want you to have 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month. 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month. A full dose of everything twice a day. And then I want you to get 2 bottles a month of our MSM. So you can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time. And they're going to support and promote maintenance repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc between a vertebrae, bone, makes the bone itself, including the knee and ear and so forth. And then I need you to take the collagen peptides, take a scoop of that in your morning drink, a scoop of that in your evening drink. I want you to take the Beyond Osteo FX, take a scoop of that in your morning drink and a scoop of that in your evening drink. If you prefer, we do have it also in the liquid form. You can take a ½ ounce of that at breakfast, ½ ounce at dinner. That'll be a quart a month, the liquid form. And then I want you to get our vitamin D3 capsules, take 3 of those twice a day. Okay. And then do you have any high blood pressure or diabetes issues?
No, I have nothing like that.
Okay, good. All right. And so let's start there. And for the eye thing, you go ahead and I would go ahead with the Vision FX, get 2 bottles of that. So you can take 3 of those twice a day. That's going to help with the eye. But the MSM and the collagen peptides are going to help with the cataract surgery kind of stuff or cataracts. Okay. Also in the walls, the arteries, the optic nerve, the optic artery, the optic vein. So the skull can be squeezing those and you might not really have cataracts. You might really just have osteoporosis of the skull squeezing the artery and the vein and the nerve. Okay,
Well,
so that's a
I had the
possibility.
surgery. I had the surgery for cataract.
Well, have you ever heard of going to a car dealership and he says you got something wrong with your car and he changes a part? You really didn't need to have that done, but he needed the money for tuition for his kids, so he changed the part and got the bill paid. And you understand what I'm saying?
I did, and that would be terrible to get that surgery if you didn't need it. Yes. Oh my goodness.
Okay. So all things are possible.
Yes.
Okay. And so always, whenever somebody recommends surgery, you want to go to a medical school and get a second opinion. The nice thing about medical schools is they get paid the same regardless of what the diagnosis is or what the treatment is. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Got it. And so
I
in the
got it.
future, you want to, when somebody says, oh, you need to have surgery for that, say, okay, well, I'm going to go get a second opinion here. I'll be back to you in a month or so. Okay.
Okay.
And so, so that's how you want to approach those kind of issues. But to give us a call every couple of weeks, because you're going to have some great results here. The knee thing will go away very quickly because that's all connective tissue stuff. And the ear thing might just be simple connective tissue stuff because the ear is made up out of cartilage and connective tissue and that kind of thing. And so, but you're getting that tone. And that says you have osteoporosis of the skull. Okay. And that cataract you had may not have been a cataract. It just may have been the skull squeezing the optic nerve, the optic artery, and the optic vein. And so you may have had 2 or 3 things going on. And you do have that tinnitus. You do have that ringing in the ears, which is an absolute drop dead proof that you have osteoporosis of the skull.
And the line that I'm seeing that's moving around in my eye that is kind of longish and not round and circular, is these things will these take care of that too?
Well, we don't know. I haven't seen it. Okay. And
Okay.
it may be, it may be a light. It may be a light diffraction, or it might be a piece of connective tissue, like a thread floating around in your eye, kind of like a long thread, like floater.
What I think it is.
That's possible. Okay, so go to a medical school in the eye department and have them have a look at it.
Okay. Okay, I will do that.
And then tell us what they say.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Doc Wallach.
Okay, well, good to talk with you, Kathleen.
Okay, good to talk with you too, and God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kathleen. And Dr. Wallach, earlier when we were talking about collagen and the topical, it's actually called, and thank you, Nasima, It's actually called the Face Serum Bundle, not the collagen bundle, the Face Serum Bundle. So we have so many products. It is difficult to keep up with them,
Yeah,
but
we have 5,000 products. We just picked up about 3 new ones, I think, this last week.
yeah, we have some new ones that are coming out. So for those of you who are looking for portable options to put in your water for minerals, we have one coming out that I'm super excited about. That is something to keep your eye out for. Again, Dr. Wallach, we are coming up to the top of the hour. I can't believe 2 hours have passed by. Folks, we have time for one more question. So if you have a question that you would like to ask Dr. Wallach, quickly get your hand up and we will see if we can get you fit in here. Dr. Wallach.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's talk about options when you feel that you financially are not able to afford a full protocol.
Okay.
You have an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, and so basically, when you can't afford the full protocol, you want to get with the basics. Okay, the Healthy Start Pack, the 90 essential nutrients. You'll save a lot of money by getting off all the bad foods. Bad foods tend to be expensive, and so you want to get rid of all the bad foods. That will save probably as much as 10% of your budget, your food budget. And then you'll be able to transfer that over to the supplement cost, okay, the vitamin mineral cost. And it's one of those things where you have to have priorities. But getting rid of the bad foods is going to add many healthy years to your life. It's going to save you an enormous amount of unnecessary misery. And people will notice it. Hey, what are you doing? You're looking great. And I've never seen, you're usually sitting there asleep and so forth. You're up, you're participating now and all this kind of stuff. Are you on some kind of medication? What's going on? And so they will notice that you're different when you get rid of all the bad foods and you start taking the 90 essential nutrients. We have programs for 600 diseases. We have 5,000 products. We don't expect everybody to use every one of those 5,000 products, but some of them are the same, where you have a liquid, a powder, and a pill of the same product. Okay. And so it's one of those things where we have many choices and so on, and you have priorities. Now, if you have limited income, you go with the minimum of the Healthy Start Pack. If you have a little bit more money than that, you can go with the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, which has 215 nutrients, including the 90. Okay. And so that will touch everything. Of course, the purpose of the secret sauces is to take more of a particular nutrient that's going to be really, what they say, an accelerator to healing. But if you can't afford that, you'll still get healing just with the nutrient level that's in the Healthy Start Pack and in the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. But if you can afford, if you let's say you have 5 diseases, you can afford one of the secret sauces. Go with the one that's, go with the one that the treatment's expensive or more deadly. Go with that one, and it'll be a wise choice.
And an even wiser choice, Dr. Wallach, is to share this information, share these products with your family, your community, help them find the difference, which then puts a thank you check in your pocket, which helps you to pay for your own supplementation and have it as a write-off.
Well,
and
there you go.
For me, whenever I started removing the bad foods from my diet, and I didn't think they were bad foods because I didn't buy the sodas, I didn't buy the chips and the candy. But when I started removing those bad foods, I did more than 10% savings on my food.
Wow.
So I took probably close to $150 off of my food bill just by removing those foods that are found on the bad foods list, the no bottled oils, no wheat, barley, rye, or wheat.
Or oats.
Barley, rye, or oats. Yes. Nothing that was fried, nothing that had breading. When I started cooking more at home, not doing all those prepared foods that were just laden with chemicals like nitrites and nitrates that are found in processed meats, the budget or the amount of food that I was spending was greatly reduced, or the amount of money that I was spending on food was greatly reduced. And that opened up even more room for me to be able to get the supplements that I needed that supported my health journey in a direction that now I don't have limitations. I can roll myself out of bed. I can go up and down stairs all day long and enjoy it instead of having the fear of falling, going up or going down. So folks, we just encourage you to feel the difference. Share this information with your loved ones, with your community, with your church, grandparents. You have, or moms and dads, you have kids that are coming up on the age of where they're looking at or thinking about getting married and starting their own families. Let's build a healthier world. By not start the supplementation when you find out you're pregnant, but start before. And let's start removing those common things that are now found in school that are getting tagged, getting labeled, put in special classes, thrown chemicals at to try to control a behavior when that behavior can be controlled through supplementation in a more natural way.
And the supplements do much more for you than chemical drugs to suppress this behavior.
They do. Not just now at this moment, but in the future too. That then prevents those costly and expensive ailments that end up destroying people's lives. Dr. Wallach, we're at the top of the hour. We are at the end of the show. I think we covered a lot of information that is going to really empower other people. I mean, I wouldn't do this if I hadn't experienced what I've experienced. And I know our co-hosts, Nasima Omar, Dr. Judy Reynolds, Ruth Ellen Sanchez, she's coming up here too, and Heather Bowen also feel the same way, and John T. McCollier. If it wasn't for finding the truth and finding that empowerment of what we can do on our own without having this square prescription. Now they just electronically send it over. You don't need that. Take control of your own health, everyone. We encourage you, we invite you to find and feel the difference. Get back with the person that shared this program with you and thank them and ask them, okay, how do I get started? It's not hard. Health is simple. Media has made it difficult. So Dr. Wallach and my co-hosts, I love you all. Thank you so much. We appreciate all of you who are on here with us. Thank you for being part of our family, whether it's through just taking the products, just taking in the knowledge, or actually as a distributor, sharing this information with others. Have a fabulous day and bye for now.
Thank you so much and love you and your team. Mwah.
Love you, Dr. Wallach. Mwah. I love my team. Bye for now.